Today I'm fighting by land, on foot, with a jetpack, and some other cool blowy-uppy gadgets. Welcome to the show, folks. Gregor here, and I just lost 5 subscribers. Because this is a Call of Duty video. If you're still here, then good. I'm going to be talking at length about my brief time with the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer beta that came up recently. Now, it's long gone by now, but this one sort of slipped under my nose, and I didn't even know that I had access to it until a few days after it had become available. So, I didn't get enough time to really test out every little nook and cranny in the way I would have wanted, but I still squeezed in a couple hours of playtime with it, playing with a wide number of guns, gadgets, and gizmos. Now, I've participated in betas like this before, particularly for Halo back when that game was more popular, and Bungie did a number of things with the betas for their games that I think were more centered around player feedback, stress testing, and compiling statistics. I'm not stupid, I mean, we're talking about Call of Duty here, right? If it's marketed well enough, and it doesn't matter how competitively balanced the game is, it's still gonna make a shit zillion dollars on launch day. So obviously this is more of a marketing thing. It's like a means for people to demo the game before they pick it up. And I'm sure Activision and Treyarch are testing out the servers and trying to get as much information as they can, but this is clearly more promotional than anything else. So what you see here is probably going to be a reflection of the final product. But this allowed me to get a more direct look at what Treyarch is doing with Black Ops 3 and some of the little differences between it and previous titles. First of all, to clarify, before I get deep into it, this is Call of Duty. We get it. It's not going to be that much different than the game that came out last year. Now, I would argue that this game in particular is quite different than Black Ops 2, and I'll get to that in a moment, but you're not saying anything that people don't already know when you rant about Call of Duty being the same each year, alright? So just take it easy. And honestly, I don't really care if this game doesn't have the same kind of competitive viability as Counter-Strike Go or StarCraft 2. Yeah, it'd be nice, but Call of Duty is, and always will be, gaming potato chips. High-octane adrenaline, testosterone, Mountain Dew, and Doritos-induced shooter gameplay. Unless you're like me, in which case you just get water, or some almonds. The corn chips are also pretty good. I mean, soda will fucking kill you, folks. Anyway, you're not going to get swole off a high fructose corn syrup, alright? So what's this game's shtick? What is Treyarch cooking up that's going to make the game stand out? The main things that I noticed that seemed to get a change from previous titles were movement mechanics, fine-tuning of gun characteristics, and the introduction of specialists, which I overlooked as kind of a gimmick at first, but they actually proved to be kind of interesting, and I'll talk about them too later. There's also some new neat gadgets and gizmos, like I said, but as I said, I'll touch up those in brief. So if you played Advanced Warfare, then you'll remember that the main focal point of that game was the exosuit and all the cool shit that it could do, mainly involving jump jets. It was very fast and APM oriented, lots of actions per minute, right? You know, moving around on the keyboard. And when you boosted, you moved very quickly to whichever direction you wanted to go, and you had a pretty short cooldown for those bursts. It felt sorta clunky compared to other games that implemented a system like it, like Titanfall. Not that it was bad. You know, don't take words out of my mouth when I say it felt clunky. It doesn't mean it was poorly implemented. That's just the feel of the system. I think that it added another level of mechanics to get under your fingers, and the people who knew how to use it well, I think certainly stood out. I do think there was a certain sort of skill gap there in being able to effectively stay mobile and stay on target at the same time. Black Ops 3 is a little bit different because the jump pack feels a bit smoother. It's not like a set of jets that quickly move you to one location and stop suddenly. This was ultimately the direction I wanted them to go with the movement system, since ultimately the way it was implemented in Advanced Warfare made the game into a sort of free-for-all, clusterfuck kind of deathmatch. There wasn't much room for team play because everybody was going around doing their own thing. So navigating the map the way they wished, verticality playing a role in navigating, and paying attention to your surroundings was important, but that was about it. Here it seems that not only are the maps designed with more corridors and choke points, but they emphasize forward movement. So another mechanic is wall running. Obviously that's taken from Titanfall, but it's not like Titanfall has a patent on wall running. The jetpack plays a role in navigating the map in these different ways, but everything feels just a little bit more focused. You can still use it in combat. It's particularly useful for getting out of the way of grenades. So this makes objective play a little bit more interesting, especially game modes like Domination, because it goes back to how Call of Duty was before, in that it's sort of this ongoing tug-of-war attrition battle. That being said, sometimes the maps can feel a bit restrictive. There are many instances where I would try to hop onto a building or something like that only to find an invisible wall in my way. It feels a little bit unnatural, so some questions about the map design in those aspects. However, due to the nature of the movement system, some weapon classes are able to see a bit more usage. What the hell am I talking about? So, talking more specifically about weapon classes is what I always felt Call of Duty was about. The game has always revolved around the gunplay. It's the whole point of it. Guns allow you to kill enough shit, and you get special abilities that allow you to kill more shit. And that finds a role in objective gameplay because sometimes kill streaks can determine whether or not an objective is going to be completed. Team play, when applicable, falls around preventing that snowball of kill streaks from happening in the first place. So in essence, the game is about momentum, right? Therein lies a problem with balancing weapons and maps. Because if you don't do it correctly, there's going to be one style of play that trumps all in terms of frags. It's going to be all about getting frags. And that's usually run and gun with a high mobility weapon. That's what we saw in Black Ops 2. That was the reign of submachine guns. So how do you balance weapons while still keeping the ones you include interesting enough to warrant picking one over the other? Call of Duty has always done this with weapon fall-off damage and recoil. But Black Ops 3 takes the main characteristics you knew about weapon classes and emphasizes them a little bit. And mind you, my time with the game was a little bit limited, and for all I know there might be several guns in the game that don't fall under these circumstances, but this is generally what I saw. SMGs have a lot more recoil, so naturally you have to get up close for them to be more effective, and their weapon fall-off range is very noticeable. Assault rifles don't have that same weapon fall-off range as SMGs, and the recoil is more manageable, but they don't have quite the same kind of close-up DPM. Machine guns usually kick like mules, but they have very little damage drop-off and high bullet penetration, so this makes them very good at killing medium to medium long range targets. Really good at suppressive fire. Shotguns seem pretty powerful this time around. Their one-shot kill potential is a bit higher than in past CODs from what I noticed. Unfortunately now, snipers are in a bit of an awkward position due to the combination of movement mechanics with jetpacks and the speed at which players move around the map. Sniping with one-shot bolt-action weapons, I feel, is going to be a bit trickier. They're all very high-risk, high-reward weapons right now. And some would argue that's the way it's supposed to be. But, hey, it is what it is. I think the days of M48-3 sniping montages are a bit of a thing of the past. But that could just be me. Semi-auto snipers seem to be a lot more useful than they used to be now because of that one-shot kill potential being a little bit more enhanced. But for the most part, I don't really see the point in sniping in this game that much because the ranges you're going to be engaging opponents at are going to be the same ranges you'd be engaging them with a machine gun or an assault rifle, and that's going to do just as effectively, really. However, keep in mind I could do a complete 180 on this. I've only played 3 or 4 maps that the beta had to offer. I think that was all that was on offer in the beta to begin with. But if the maps were a little bit more stretched out, I could definitely see snipers being more useful. And another thing to point out is that the sensitivity, or otherwise, another way of saying it, the speed at which you move the aiming reticle around is a lot faster when you're scoped in than it was in previous Call of Duty titles. I imagine this would make it a lot easier to acquire these fast-moving targets, so we'll see. Alright, now on to specialists. So specialists are something that have been recently introduced through Black Ops 3. They're basically player characters that come with a unique ability. You can pick from one of 2 unique abilities for the character, usually either an offensive weapon similar to a killstreak reward that you would get on your own, like the Death Machine, or a tactical ability. The thing that separates these abilities from others is that they're given to the player on a timer, so they're not a part of a score streak or kill streak. No matter what happens, at some point or points in the game, you will have the chance to use one of these characters' special abilities. I think some of the weapons are kind of cool, but for the most part, they're just gimmicky, trick shot, 420 blaze it, get wrecked montage weapons. What I found more interesting were the tactical abilities that some of the classes get. Like, one of them has a sort of Halo 4 wall hack vision ability that can scan a given area and show targets. Another one of my favorites is a character that has the ability to blink from a previous point he was just at. It's effective as an escape tool, but it can be used offensively as well. You can see a clip here where I believe I particularly irritated someone.
Yeah, he was probably a little bit salty about that.
It'll be interesting to see how players mix and match these abilities with various playstyles to kind of give them their own unique sense of play to the battlefield. Also, this is something that I didn't manage to record, but the melee system has been changed up a little bit. See, now whenever you use the melee attack, right, you use your weapon. Like, you smack the guy with the stock of your weapon. You don't just randomly pull a knife out of your ass and insta-kill them. It's an insta-kill from the back, but if you hit them from the front, it's only a stunning effect. So that's something a little bit interesting. And the combat knife, where the combat knife go, that's now a secondary weapon that's capable of doing that same kind of one-shot kill. Honestly, I really like this change. I was never really a huge fan of the whole flinch reaction one-shot kill with a knife provided in close quarters situations, because the game is supposed to be about the gunplay. In addition, each of these specialists sort of has their own personality to them. I would suspect that these people are going to be characters in the Black Ops 3 single-player campaign. They all get their own unique dialogue lines, and it's a little bit more dynamic than you would think. They'll announce that they took down so-and-so character when they do so, and little tidbits like that. It's kind of cool. Just some subtle stuff. But aside from that, really, I mean, it's Call of Duty. Like I said, the people at Activision are smart. Keep it simple, stupid. I've always been a massive Call of Duty fanboy personally, though, so I'm probably a little bit biased. I have passed up on titles in the past, though, like Ghosts. Whew. Ghosts was just a disaster. But hopefully Treyarch won't fail to impress me. They never failed to impress me before. I thoroughly enjoyed World at War. I thoroughly enjoyed Black Ops. Black Ops remains my favorite. The original Black Ops remains my favorite game in the whole series, by far. And I certainly enjoyed my time with the Black Ops 3 beta. So, I'll most certainly pick it up when I get the chance. If you like what you saw in this video, be sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 3 content in the future in the form of videos like this, or maybe even weapon guides. Until then, I'll be doing what I usually do. My name's Gregor Thanks for watching.